Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about One Piece chapter 941, and it was an interesting chapter. We had some revelations, we saw some stuff going on. Overall, I don't know if it really blew me away, but it was interesting to some degree. There were some funny parts at the very least. So first off, Orochi is still pissed off about Komurasaki, whether it be, that she's dead, which he's really angry about anyways, but also just how things went in general. So he's freaking out, and he's kind of lashing out in anger to his advisor and to other people around him, so he's not in a very good mood, it seems. That being said, there are pressing matters that need to be attended to, and some of it involves either a forest fire, basically just going on, somebody setting fires to curry, which we've later learned out is kind of it's funny enough, it's a way to smoke somebody out, literally. But the other pressing matter is that a famous thief throughout, I think, they said Curry maybe, but like throughout all of Wano at the very least, has been now captured, and it turns out that they had found out his true identity. So he was going by the name of Ushimitsu Kozo, but that wasn't really his real identity. That was just his like pseudonym. Is that the word to use for like a fake name? But it's a guy that is just shrouded in mystery, and they finally captured him, and I guess he had been doing kind of a Robin Hood thing where he was stealing from the rich and giving it to the poor, and Orochi was surprised. A lot of people seemed kind of like, throughout the entire chapter they were setting up this whole thing where it was like, okay, well they're gonna show him, he's gonna be executed, and Orochi says, okay, well now that we know who he is, let's execute him during the funeral for Komurasaki, and it'll be kind of like a duality thing, a double hitter. And throughout the entire chapter they're kind of setting it up like, transponder snails are being set up to kind of project the execution and funeral, and we're seeing a lot of characters like, oh, hey, they're getting ready to show something. We're gonna watch this. And I was honestly expecting him to be somebody a bit more well-known. It was a pre-established character for sure, but it certainly didn't feel like as much of a boom as I think maybe it was supposed to. Granted, I guess it was more of a surprise than the Komurasaki reveal, so I don't know. It's just not doing it for me as much. We then jump back to the excavation camp with Luffy and Hyo and Queen, and they're all kind of getting ready for the next, I guess, sumo match, or at least the day of sumo matches, and Queen is freaking out because he's finally learned about Komurasaki, because now there's a funeral going on, and he's just not having a good day, and his guards are like, well, I guess he found out, and Luffy and Old Man Hyo show up, and they're fat. They're doing that whole thing where like their bodies are elongated and they're just fat in the middle. And it had turned out that Raizo and Caribou had stolen a large cache of food that Queen had off to the side for presumably himself. And then they gave it to Luffy and the Old Man Hyo, and now they're all set. It was a really funny part because, like, Queen's freaking out about Komurasaki, and then he sees them, and he's like, what? And then his eyes pop out of his sockets and do that whole thing where they poke out, and he's really surprised that they're fat now, especially since, you know, it's a prison. They shouldn't be anything much more than bones, especially Old Man Hyo, so I don't know, whatever. I'm sure that they won't... I am positive that they really won't bring this up very much going forward for them. I think it'll just be like, okay, on with the show, whatever. It's just kind of funny because in the background you see Raizo and Caribou chit-chatting and whispering to each other, and Raizo's like, I thought you said that they wouldn't notice if they would get a little plumper and fatter, and like, I guess he did, whatever. I don't think it'll go anywhere. And again, we see Luffy noticing a transponder snail, or like the projection transponder snails, being set up. So again, I thought that this was going to be something crazy. I don't know whether Luffy met the guy that is later revealed. I know a number of them have, obviously, but I feel like it wasn't as much of a big surprise, as they kind of already set it up in the last chapter or so, that he was kind of doing his thing. So I don't know. So aside from the thief being captured and getting ready to prepare an execution for him, we have a fire going on, and somebody's setting things on fire and just letting it burn, and kind of getting crazy, and this is like I think they don't exactly say it, but it's like kind of maybe implied. Maybe I missed something, but it's actually Hold'em setting the fires, and I think he's trying to literally smoke out Ashura Doji and his crew because he's blaming the fire on their crew. So hopefully, in their eyes, that they can smoke them out and then take care of them and eradicate one more threat to Kaido and Orochi. But I don't think it's gonna go their way. I think things will go a little more in the good guys' way at this point because their entire plan is falling apart. But so they need a win, I guess. Kinemon and Dogstrom are on their way to Bakura Town, where this is kind of all heading to ahead, and they're like, listen, we need Ashura Doji. He's obviously not going to be on good terms with Kaido's crew at this point, so let's use that to our advantage to try to sway him onto our side to fight Kaido. And yeah, I mean, it's a sound thing because, again, as Shutenmaru, Ashura Doji is not quite on anyone's side except for his own and his crew's. So he's kind of being a little difficult at this point. But I think if he has the right motivation, he will definitely join them. We then jump back to the kind of hut that Zoro and Hiyori and Toko are hiding out in. And Brook ends up finding them and is just kind of like comes in. And he sees them in this like really awkward sleeping position with Hiyori kind of draping herself over him and Toko just doing that little kid thing where she's just sleeping with her whatever. And Brook is taken aback by this. He even has like the eye popping out of his head thing, but since he doesn't have eyes, he just has like little black things coming out of his eye sockets. So it's kind of a funny moment there, and it's Zoro's like, no, this is not what anything is. Don't worry about it, Brook. Now, as far as Hiyori goes, it's kind of like, so okay, she's proven to be smart and opinionative and kind of just real tough and rumble sometimes. But then she also has these like little moments where she's kind of like ditzy, maybe not ditzy, but just kind of like a little innocent. And this seemed to be one of those. It's weird. She's got a weird personality going back and forth between being kind of smart and hard-headed, where it's like as Komoe Arasaki, and kind of, again, innocent and ditzy and dumb, or at least jovial and just kind of like really like goofy as herself, as Hiyori. And I wonder if there's a happy middle where it's like kind of both are her, or whether the whole Komurasaki like confidence thing all comes just like from her trying to hide herself. One thing I want to say before I move any further, so in the Viz Media translation, Brook keeps calling Zoro Zolo, and I feel like I've seen Zoro's name written in these like official translations as Zoro, so I don't know whether they're mistranslating it here and they're just like somebody hit an L instead of an R when they were typing it up, or it's been a while, I guess, since somebody said Zoro in the manga, so I don't know. I just feel like I missed something. His name is Zoro. That's just it. Like they in the 4Kids dub, they called him Zolo, which is totally wrong. I don't care for that. I think this is maybe just a misspelling, and in every other chapter they've called him Zoro. I gotta go back and check to see if maybe I just haven't. Maybe I've just been mind printing it on the R, and I just never noticed. I don't know. The Viz Media, do your stuff, man. In any event, they start talking with Brook, and Brook's like, yeah, I was hiding in a hole, or a well, rather, and he was given the order just to kind of lay low and try to pretend to be a yokai and gather food and whatnot, but now he's up and about, and they just kind of started talking, and Brook has heard about the whole execution thing, but Zoro, Hiyori, and Toko have not. So it turns out, so he kind of breaks the news to them, that the Kozo guy, or Ushimitsu Kozo, is actually a guy named Yasu something, or something Yasu. And then they realize, wait a second, it's Tonoyasu. Tonoyasu is this guy. And that kind of breaks, like, so here's the thing. I'm not surprised that he'd be the thief. Like, that's kind of like, they set it up in the last chapter that he was like, giving away money and food and whatever to all these people, and they said that it was basically from Toko, but I get the feeling that maybe she doesn't make a ton, So where the heck is he getting all this extra stuff from? So I guess that's where he's getting it from. The real kicker here, though, the real actual surprise, which I don't know if it's truly a surprise or not, but the real kicker here is that he's actually a daimyo, or a former daimyo, from when Oden was ruling, and apparently he wasn't always happy and goofy. Back then he was apparently more serious and a little stricter, but he apparently was real chill with Oden and was just a generally kind of cool guy, even if he was strict. So he's definitely done a 180 as far as personalities go. I don't know. But he's apparently a daimyo, or a former daimyo, and now he's strung up, and that's why Orochi and his dude were kind of surprised, and anybody that figured it out was surprised. So yeah, it's a twist, but maybe not the most twisty twist of them all. I don't know. It didn't make me gasp or anything. It was more of a twist than the Komurasaki Hiyori stuff. But I don't know. I feel like they meant this to be more of a boom than it actually was. Maybe I'm wrong. If it really surprised you guys, let me know. But it didn't hit me quite as hard as I think they wanted it to. Apparently his name is Yasuie in real, and then he changed it once Oden died, and changed it to Toniyasu and whatever. He then had Toko, and as a peasant, I guess, whatever. And that's just kind of how it is. We'll probably find out a bit more about his past in the next chapter or two. But yeah, I'm interested to see more about him, even if I wasn't totally surprised about his reveal. Once Toko finds this out, that he's being executed, or going to be executed, she bolts out of the hut and just basically says, hey, I gotta go, I gotta do my thing. Hiyori kind of goes after her and says, Zoro, you chill out here, take as long as you want. Zoro's like, nope, I'm coming with you. And they all kind of just run out after Toko, because Toko's about to get herself killed, because either by the wilderness, because they're in like mountains, or by, Orochi's people. So it's not good either way. We finally cut back to Tonoyasu, and everybody's like kind of crying over him. They thought he was dead or something beforehand. And he's just basically like, yo guys, chill out. I have a couple of things to say. One or two of them's for you guys, and it's just real chill. One of them's for Orochi. But at the end of the day, I'm pretty chill with where things are gonna go here. So he seems pretty resigned to his own fate. And he does it with all a smile on his face. So I'm hoping to understand why in the world he has a smile and Toko has a smile. I'm sure maybe for Toko it's more of a, they said it was a tick, but I'm sure it's more of a behavioral thing. But I'm wondering if, why he smiles so much. His smile is also really weird, and I'm wondering if maybe there's a reason for it other than just hide his appearance, I guess? That's the entire chapter. Again, it was kind of an okay chapter. It didn't blow me away. I liked the Luffy part where he got all fat. I liked the part with Brook and Zoro, them finding each other in the hut. But overall, I wasn't totally blown away with this chapter. It was fine. It was fine. It was a transition chapter. It's getting people to move a little faster. Zoro and Hiyori and Toko and even Brook are now heading to presumably save Toniyasu. And Nami, Robin, Frankie, and Usopp are all kind of just watching in horror that this is going on. So they'll probably make some moves. And I don't know. It was fine. It was fine. I don't know if I have much more to say about it. But let me know what you guys thought down below in the comment section. Were you surprised by this? Or even if you weren't expecting it, did it really blow you away that Tonoyasu is Yasuie? Or a daimyo in general? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below of this chapter. Yeah. Also, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. And if you want to see more from me, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so that you get all the notifications when I upload. It was an okay chapter. It was fine. That's all I got to say about this chapter. I'll see you guys in another video. Bye-bye.